Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can, but there's not going to be a lot of or it's up to you.
Yeah, I was gonna make. I thought it was Todd's.
Oh, wait, no. That's actually in the yoga committee.
No, I'm talking about. I can't remember what you were saying.
On vacation.
I don't think it changes.
Everybody deserves something. That's how I remember it. Did you? Yeah. I finished my pickle yesterday, and I went home, and I was like, and like I had this jacuzzi thing in my bathtub,
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here, Steve.
I didn't see military swag. I was confused.
He should be.
All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see, let me get this proper agenda up here. Yeah, let me just get the proper agenda. All right, everybody ready? Dr. Wilson, you ready? Okay, let's call this June 6th Caddo Parish Commission meeting to order. It is 3:37. Could we have a roll call, please?
Hopkins, Johnson, Jackson, Young, Burrell, Jones, Gage Watts, Taliaferro,
Here, ma'am.
Atkins,
Here.
Chavez,
Here.
Lazarus,
Here.
Everson. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Assistant Clerk. We are ready to proceed. Are you ready for the invocation? Pastor CJ, would you be kind enough to lead us in an invocation? And Commissioner Taliaferro, would you lead us in the pledge?
Yes, sir.
Everybody stand, please.
Let us pray.
Oh, gracious and eternal God, how we thank you for this day, how we thank you for your goodness and your mercy and your loving kindness toward us. We pray now, oh God, that you would be in the midst of this parish meeting, Lord God, in the midst of this commission and even administration as they make decisions for the betterment of the parish. And God, we pray even now for the people of this parish, oh God, that they will continue to thrive and prosper. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. All face the flag. Military and first responders may render a hand or brow salute. All others place a hand over our heart, and let us pay allegiance to the greatest country God has ever created. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Talaferro, for that pledge, and thank you, Pastor CJ, for the pledge, or for the invocation. Okay, Madam Clerk?
Now we move to agenda additions, and I believe we have one.
I have one.
You have agenda addition?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what's that?
I would like to expand the agenda to add ordinance number 6237, ordinance regarding an exchange of roadways with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and development in connection with extending LA 3276 to LA 1 to authorize the exchange of certain portions of parish roads in return for certain portions of state highways.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to extend. I think we've got another motion to extend, another issue, and I'm trying to think, I guess we'll raise both these issues and then open up for public hearing.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
The only issue with that agenda addition is our publication requirements. We won't be able to do it for introduction on Thursday.
Let's try to introduce it and call them first thing in the morning
Okay.
to see if they can add it.
Okay.
We got to looking in our minutes, and what we passed to introduce. If you'll look, it's on consent.
Mm-hmm.
But the way the motion was passed at work session, it shouldn't have been introduced yet. We went ahead. It's been introduced for Thursday, but that's not correct based on our meeting earlier.
Okay.
Did we have a second agenda addition?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I'd like to move to extend the agenda to add a special resolution for the Cedar Grove CDC Juneteenth celebration. Second.
Okay, so we have two proposed agenda additions, expansions. Commissioner Jackson, do you have something?
Oh, I was second those two.
Okay, so raised by Commissioner Jones and seconded by Commissioner Jackson. You're on the board. Is that for any reason, Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, sir. I was just going to point out, Todd pointed it out, that it's on as a consent, it's actually on for a consent agenda, but I think that either is a typo or a mistake. And it should be, we would basically just be moving this up to be introduced for today. So essentially moving it off consent and moving it up for introduction today.
Okay, and Commissioner Burr.
I did have
sorry.
a question. Do we advertise the consent agenda? When
We don't
sit-
advertise a consent agenda, but we do advertise the Friday before the meeting, the ordinances for introduction to be introduced that Thursday. And we have a deadline normally the Monday, the work session day at noon.
So, I mean, in theory, I guess this is a legal question, and y'all probably have to research it. It's not a legal question?
I don't think so.
Well, I was gonna say in theory, or I guess it's a legal research question. Because it sounds like we have advertised it. It sounds like it's been advertised, and so if we introduce today,
No.
it sounds like we would be in compliance with the advertising.
No, we
No,
have not
we wouldn't.
advertised
Okay.
it for this Thursday. We have not advertised.
Right,
it
I'm
for
not saying
introduction
consider it
public
for-
hearing.
I'm not saying consider it for Thursday, I'm just saying for introduction. It still has to lay over for 2 weeks.
Right, but the way that we do the ads is,
Uh-huh.
for example, ordinance such and such is to be introduced this Thursday at this time. And then the public hearing will be at
Okay.
the following Thursday.
I follow you.
Because of our our official journal is just a weekly journal, it's very hard to get
Gotcha.
stuff in.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Commissioner Burrell?
Mr. Chairman, I was just going to say, since it has not been properly advertised, or there's a question, what is the urgency?
I think they may have just.
What's the urgency?
Or is there
What's
an
the
urgency?
What's the,
Oh,
what's the urgency?
I think that this DOTD is just wants to get this moved on and move forward, so that we can, it's a competitive process, shall we say, to get these roads, funded. And so they just feel an urgency to push it forward.
So that is the urgency, the reason why we're doing this, is what you're saying? That is the urgency, that the DOTD has said that they need it now in order to,
Sooner the better, Commissioner Burrell.
do what now?
The sooner the better on getting the ordinance to them so they can complete their grant process as well. They have a resolution for the grant process, but they like to go ahead so they can actually start working off of the ordinance when the ordinance has been approved.
Okay, thank you.
The design work.
Commissioner Jones, did you have something?
Yes, I
else?
need to make a correction, not Cedar Grove CDC, but Care Incorporated. My apologies, Care Incorporated Juneteenth celebration.
Do you have that down, Ms. Clerk?
I got it.
Okay. All right, so we have two motions to expand the agenda, so we'll need to open up for a public hearing. The floor is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak either in favor of or in opposition to either of the proposed two agenda additions, please come to the podium. Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing and vote on the proposed expansions.
Do you guys want to take them together or separately?
We'll just take them separately, just to ensure there's no, conflicts. So
Okay.
may we go first with Resolution 6237?
Gotcha.
All right, voting to expand the addition to include Resolution 6237, Commissioner Hopkins' proposal.
Okay, that carries.
Okay, will you please alert the chair when that comes up to the agenda?
I gotcha.
And now may we please have a second vote on Commissioner Jones's proposed expansion?
And that motion also carries.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now we move to citizens' comments.
Okay, we have a number of citizens' comments today. We'll start with Ms. John Glover. Hello, Ms. Glover. Thank you for coming down today.
Good evening.
Good afternoon.
I'm back and grateful. John Glover, 9100 Walker Road, apartment 121, Shreveport 711, 18. Now, I know that there's going to be probably more than likely discussion with regards to item 11.3, but because I don't know what that conversation will be, I will pose my questions now as it relates to that particular item, if that is okay.
We can't answer your questions, but
I do
please-
understand.
Yes,
Okay.
please do.
My first question is, based on what this resolution says, I need to know if there's data to support asking such an ask from the DA. 2, is there a revised statute that gives the commission authority to ask such a question of the DA? And 3, what is it that the commission thinks, if they have the authority to ask such a question of the DA, they're going to profit, and not so much in money, but in the instance of why we would want plea bargains and whatever else that may be related to weapon possession, and when a person is arrested. I just need to understand the fullness of why are we asking this without having heard what you all may develop as you began to talk about this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Glover. Pastor Charles Johnson. Welcome, Pastor Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Charles Johnson, 202 North Thomas, Suite 9, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71107. Greetings to all of you, the commissioners. I rise today to speak to you about an item that I believe passed out of committee today. The last time I was here, I presented to you information about our nonprofit here in the city of Shreveport in the parish of Caddo. And it is CJ Cares and also CJ Ministries. And I want to say to all of you, I think I counted about 9 of you that I actually know here, that many of you know me and know the work that I do in the community. And I pray that once this agenda item reaches the full body, that you would pass it and support the work that we do. And I appreciate your time, and thank you, Commissioner Johnson, for helping me with this. Thank you all.
Thank you, Pastor. Is it Mr. Rudolph Glass? Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon. Rudolph Glass, 1735 Arlington, 71103. I have a question. I was wondering, are you all going to have any meetings with the citizens to discuss the redistricting proposal that you all have?
Well, Mr. Glass, you can propose questions to us, but we can't actually answer your questions during this session. But I would suggest that you touch base. Maybe Ms. Bryant could get with you and give you some feedback on that.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to have a presentation if you'd like to sit in on it.
That's true. That issue is going to be discussed later in the agenda.
What I was wondering was, you have other citizens in different areas of town, and I was just wondering if you were going to have anything like in different areas to let the citizens know exactly what was going on.
Mr. President, may I just redirect a question, a comment to you that if the gentleman would stick around, I'll address that under at least my comments.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Glass, we can't answer your questions during this period, but if you hang out a little while longer, there may be it appears that some of your issues will be addressed. Okay. And if your issues are not addressed, please meet with us either after this session or reach out to one of your commissioners, myself or another, and we'll try to address your questions more directly. I'm sorry, we don't get into back and forth dialogue during this session.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry we couldn't be more helpful. Is it Ms. Durham?
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I have her down as a visitor so we can hold her citizens' comments.
Have her heard? Would you like to have her during visitors or during citizens' comments?
She's on the agenda as a visitor.
All right, so we'll call you up as a visitor. Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Mr. Billy Anderson, I believe it is. Did I get close? Let's make that Oh, here he is. Okay, Mr. Anderson.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
My name is Billy Anderson. My address is 1753 Irving Place, and I'm here with the Juneteenth Celebration Coalition. So this year we decided to collectively all work together to produce a Juneteenth celebration in the city of Shreveport. I am on the chair for the parade. I'm the chair for the parade, and I was going to tell you guys a little bit about that today. So on Friday, June 17th, the parade will start at 4 o'clock, and we'll go into 5:30, and we'll end in a kickoff Juneteenth celebration with Let the Good Times Roll. We have about 250 participants in the parade, and we hope it'll be a great weekend for Shreveport and really put us on the map as a Juneteenth celebration.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Thank
we appreciate you letting us know.
Thank you.
I think Ms. Atchison is going to follow up on that same topic. Ms. Atchison? Welcome, Pam.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. President and Commissioners. Great to see you again. Pam Atchison, 801 Crockett Street, Shreveport Regional Arts Council, 71101. And there are several of us today to talk to you about what Billy just said. We're hoping to come together as a coalition of the City of Shreveport, the Shreveport Regional Arts Council, hopefully the Parish of Caddo, to present this year the largest educational, entertaining, and economically impactful Juneteenth celebration weekend, which will run June 17th through June 19th. And the elements of it, you're going to hear each person speak in a moment, but generally we open up with the great North Louisiana Juneteenth Coalition Parade on Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. It's hot. It'll be hot, but there'll be plenty of water and fun and entertainment and beads and candy and fun things to collect and catch from Juneteenth. Then we'll move right into the Festival Plaza with Let the Good Times Roll Festival, which of course I think we all know historically has been the largest Juneteenth celebration in our nation, the largest festival. And now we're combining with several other things to make the largest Juneteenth weekend in the nation. After we get into Festival Plaza and have an opening celebration, we'll hear Zydeco music that night. And the next morning, we'll start off very early with a health fair, with a farmer's market, with the Let the Good Times Roll run, and then we move into the lot where Artish will take place, the incredible arts market that features African American artists. There's more than 20 of them. In just a minute, Drayden Dunn will tell you all about that. And then we're going to go forward to create our city's first Juneteenth mural and feature Poetic X again in bringing forward his project of his first poem for Caddo Parish associated with that mural that Cadavian Baylor is creating for us. And that takes us through Saturday afternoon when we go straight back into the festival at 4 o'clock for great music and entertainment until midnight. And there's no time for you to take a nap, so you've got to do it all. And then on Sunday after church around 4 in the afternoon, we will wake up to the great sounds of the rhythms of the Let the Good Times Roll festival that will take us out until midnight. We are already putting banners up throughout downtown that the city of Shreveport has created to let everyone know that Juneteenth is a celebration for all of us and that we all have benefited from what took place in Galveston in 1865. We want all people of Shreveport, Bossier, and the world to know that here in Shreveport and Caddo Parish, it's an important date. We're thankful the nation has finally made it a national holiday, and we hope to make it one of the summer's biggest, best events ever. So we're asking the parish to join us in the festive weekend of commemoration, celebration, and contemplation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Atchison. Mr. Fred Moss, the fourth. Hello, Mr. Moss.
Greetings, Fred Moss, 3308 Sandra Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, and I also have Vincent Holmes, 7999 Kimberly Road, Greenwood, Louisiana.
Drayden Dunn, 2053 Francis Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Well, as you all know, Juneteenth weekend, Royal Megan Friends has been celebrating for like 35 years now. This is very historic for the city of Shreveport that Juneteenth is a national holiday now. So I stand here before you, my forefathers, and I call them my forefathers, Willie J.C. Critton, Joseph Odom, and Roy Lester. These guys had a vision 35 years ago, along with Harry Huckabee, that we be a part of this celebration. It started out as the Black Arts Festival first, and then it came to us as the Let the Good Times Roll Festival. We took it over. And I know these guys are now, they're deceased, but I know they're turning over in their graves right now because this is a national holiday. And we've been stressing this for 35 years. And we've been doing it for 35 years. And this is one of the biggest Juneteenth activities in the United States of America. So along with the help of the city of Shreveport and the parish, we're gonna bring you something that's gonna be totally different. It's gonna be experience. The festival, what we strive on each year is to bring entertainment into Shreveport that you don't get everywhere else. You know, we have your blues acts every other week here in Shreveport. You have these different things, but we try to bring in artists that the folks want to see and that don't normally come to Shreveport. So on Saturday night, we have SWV that's going to be headlining.
That's our headline act, y'all, and they're gonna bring it. On Saturday, we have Slick Rick and, what's the young lady's name? Avery Sunshine, and on Friday, we have Chris Ardoin and J1. So the weekend is gonna be awesome, and with the help of you guys, thank you, and the help of Shreveport and everybody, Pam and everybody, all of us getting together to do this thing. It's kind of, I almost want to cry a little bit, but it's an awesome time in Shreveport, and I just want to thank all you commissioners for helping us with this. Vincel, this is the chairman of the Let the Good Times Roll Festival. Vincel Holmes, and he can fill you in on everything.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate what Fred said. I'm just the opportunity just to have this moment. We just want to thank the city and the parish for what you're doing to continue to support us and continue to support the festival and every endeavor that we do, not just the festival, but the other activities we do with our young program, our lamplighter program. So we just want to again say thank you, and we're honored to be able to host this event, and can't wait to see each and every one of you guys down there this weekend. Not this weekend, but the weekend of the 15th, 17th, and 18th. So again, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you guys.
Thank you.
Good deal. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, President, the Commission. Really honored to be here, and really thankful for the partnership that you guys are contemplating. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to join in with the city, with the coalition. My name is Drayton Dunn, founder of Envision Media Marketing, founder of Artists at Black Art Show, which is a black art show that I started last year. It was the inaugural one at the lot downtown on Crockett Street. And the reason we started it because I wanted to create a space for visual artists, black visual artists. And of course, we were still dealing with the pandemic, and it was really hard for artists full time to make money and monetize. You know, they was inside, you know, everyone else was inside. It was hard to touch people, to do things. And a lot of artists actually took that opportunity to create a lot of work. And they needed the opportunity to really sell and showcase their art. And that's kind of how it was born. Falling on Juneteenth was just the best time to do it. We was very successful last year, and we're looking to do our second annual installation this year. I want to thank Commissioner Jackson just for helping and partnering. We're going to have the fireworks show. We're going to have about 20 black visual artists, about 20 black performing artists, 8 food vendors. We're going to be installing a mural with Cadavian Baylor and some other black artists around the city. It's really going to be something special. And I just appreciate Pam, Billy, Michael Lafitte, Fred behind me. What we have right now is what you see with the power of collaboration. And that's what's missing in our city and our parish and our state and our nation at times. So when you get a lot of people at a table, it's kind of hard to get some stuff going. But it's been a pleasant experience, and we appreciate you. What I brought for you today is some art from a black artist named Jessica Johnson. This is a custom, so y'all can't have it. I know you like it, Commissioner Epperson. I know you like it, Commissioner Weiss, because it got Pines Road on it. And it also has some other businesses like Louisiana Daiquiri, which is a black-owned business, Envision, my business, and then some stuff that's just for the culture, like some Southern-made donuts and some Southern classic chicken. So come out and check out some cool art, y'all. We'd love to have you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank y'all. All right. Thank you all for coming down. I guess we are at the visitor section.
Okay, we have Cedric Floyd to provide an update on redistricting.
Welcome, Mr. Floyd. Come on up.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
May I, since we are out of public comments, may I just say that for District 3, as Mr. Floyd comes up and gets prepared for District 3, I wanted to wait because Mr. Glass is a constituent of mine. And so I just wanted to make sure that we had maps out first before a community meeting was held. So I just wanted to put that out there for anybody who may be listening, that when the maps, I wanted to wait until the maps came out, because without a map, you just would be meeting to talk about basically nothing. So.
Yeah, and there's also, we're very preliminary in the process right now. We don't want to get people fixated on things when we.
Right. So I just wanted to put that out there for the gentleman who came up. I don't know if he's still here or not. So.
I
Mr.
saw him
Glass.
a moment ago.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Floyd, I think we're gonna have to keep it at a fairly high level at in this venue. It's gonna be hard to follow too much detail.
Good evening, Dr. Wilson, Commission members. Thank you for giving Data Center LLC the opportunity to redistrict the Caddo Commission districts based on the 2020 census. The first step of redistricting is to show the impact of the 2020 census on your current districts. And that is the 2020 benchmark plan that's up on the screen in your first handout. And it shows that District 1 has a population of 20,214, District 2, 17,841, District 3, 17,725, District 4, 19,342, District 5, 16,703, District 6, 17,657, District 7, 19,250, District 8, 20,369, District 9, 25,046, District 10, 21,893, District 11, 20,608, and District 12, 21,200. Next is to show the impact of the 2020 census, again, on your current districts, and it shows you what happened between the 2010 and the 2020 census. And the biggest significance about it is what happened with District 3 and what happened with District 9. That's the two districts. District 5 is the smallest, and District 9 is the largest. If you look at your second column, the 2010 population, the population of District 5 was 20,422, and District 9 was 21,929. And that's a difference of 1,507. 2010 census, when that plan was adopted. But between 2010 and 2020, the difference between the two populations is 8,343. That meant in that 10-year period, District 5 lost 3,719 people, and District 9 gained 3,117. And that's a gigantic drop, same district, but there was a lot of movement in Districts 5 and 9. To calculate planned deviation is subtracting the smallest district, District 5, 16,703, from the largest district, District 9, 25,046, and that amount is 8,343. Then you divide 8,343 into the ideal district size of 19,821, and that's how you get 42.09% deviation. Again, that's dividing, the ideal district size is the total parish population into the number of seats, 12 seats. And the ideal district size is 19,821. And the deviation is, the bottom of the smallest number is really 5% variance, and 5 above, that makes 10% deviation. So that's how deviation is calculated, is subtracting the smallest district from the largest district, and then you divide it into the ideal district size, and it's 42.09, which is 4 times the allowable deviation limit. Now that you know that you have to redistrict, these are the accepted criteria for redistricting. Population equality, 10%. Compliance with the Voting Rights Act. Each district shall be as compact as possible. Each district shall be contiguous. Incumbency considered. Consideration should be given to natural, geographical, and political boundaries. Consideration shall be given to keep intact communities of interest, association, whether historical, racial, economic, ethnic, religious, or others. And state law, new apportionment plan must contain whole precincts, and as the governing authority, you create precincts, so you do have the authority to subdivide a precinct. And consistent with your charter, you must redistrict by the end of this year. Based on that criteria, my company created a model plan to show that it can be done. And it offers as least change as possible, build it on the 2010 foundation of your plan. And this is the population of each district, 1 through 12. This was emailed to you, 2 Saturdays ago, that you should have gotten it. And I'm pretty much old school, so I like to do things on hard maps. So this is the hard map of your benchmark plan and the hard map of Plan A. And I'm asking Dr. Wilson maybe to put it in the lobby after the day so people could pass by and inspect the plan. And model Plan A, and I'll tell you about the features of it. The next handout is called precinct changes. These are the changes that happened to your 2010 plan to make up Plan A. District 1 stayed the same. It was within that window, so no changes to District 1. District 2, addition of Precinct 45 and removal of Precinct 39. District 3, addition of Precinct 32, part of 32 and Precinct 39. District 4, Precinct 10 and part of Precinct 22, what was removed, part of Precinct 24. District 5, addition of Precincts 2, 3, 43, and 45. What was taken out of District 5 was part of Precinct 32 and Precinct 45. District 6, part of Precinct 24, Precinct 50 addition, and part of Precinct 68. District 7, addition of Precincts 63, 88, and 89, was taken out Precincts 2, 3, 43, and 55. District 8, Precincts 112, 72, and 76 was added to it, taking out Precincts 10, 102, part of 22, Precinct 50, and part of 68. District 9, added to it with precinct 102, taking out precincts 112, 126, 72, and 76. District 10, taking out precinct 92. District 11, added precinct 126, part of 163 added in 92, taking out precincts 63, 88, and 89. District 12, just part of precinct 163. So this begins the redistricting process. What has been scheduled is to have a community engagement, giving the community over a month to get a chance to review the plan. On Wednesday, July the 27th, and Thursday, July the 28th, to have a community engagement meeting here in this room. And just want to thank Dr. Wilson, Ms. Crystal, for this information is already on your website on the redistricting process. So it's been up since Friday midday, and for anybody to come and view it. This is your parish. You have to redistrict. You've been doing this for 41 years, and at the end of the day, you should have a plan that is reflective of your parish. And data center is available to meet with the commissioners or any commissioner to look at options going forward. So we have a ways to go in this process, but the process needed to begin. So this is the benchmark plan, and this is model plan A. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Floyd? All right, I have one question, Mr. Floyd, and this is actually Dr. Wilson. I'm happy to have these plans presented. It's all, you know, public knowledge, and the public should be allowed to see these plans. But I fear that presenting them in this way gives the implication that this is the final plan. I mean, how do we put draft across of them, or working plan, or preliminary? You know, how do we label these so people don't think that this is said and done and already, you know, decided? Dr. Wilson, I'll direct that to you.
Yes, sir. I don't think I can climb that tall mountain, but I think that this is the beginning of the process. Mr. Floyd had, instead of having multiple plans, as he stated, he put forth the best model plan, and subsequently.
Did you say he put better the best model plan?
For me, that I could make.
Yes, sir. That's what he said. That's what he.
Yes,
that's what he,
well, in his mind, the best model plan.
That's you hired a 41-year company to do it. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, at least that's how it's labeled. so anyway, subsequent to that, I think any commissioner designed to see something different in the plan, please feel free to reach out to Mr. Floyd and ask for an audience with him to go over it, to have him explain it to you. And at the end of the day, you know, you all have to vote on approve a plan and for this part of this process. So that's what ultimately we will end up with, an approved plan with citizens that give the inputs as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to get input from a number of sources, because all due
Yes,
respect
sir.
to Mr.
But we have to.
Floyd,
It's a work in progress. We
Yeah.
You have to have starting point at some point.
the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and so
Yes,
we'll
sir.
have to find something that we can all agree to.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Burrell, Vice President Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Floyd and I have had a conversation about this, and I think this is my third or fourth rodeo in terms of redistricting. Everybody does it a little differently, I'm sure. But in terms of your plan that has, I'll assume a plus or minus 5% at least, that 10% deviation that you're talking about there. That is, again, in terms of, well, it's just semantics. It's an optimal plan that you've come up with. Like you said, the best plan that you could come up with. But it does not eliminate shuffling precincts around that may
Speak into your mic.
that may be more contiguous or may keep certain neighborhoods together, because all those things come into play in terms of redistricting. So your plan A, as far as you're concerned, what you're telling us is just your optimal plan. Is that what I'm understanding.
Correct. It was built on what was approved by the Justice Department and was in place right now, 2010. It was that basis as the foundation for it.
Okay. It is a plan that you feel that would possibly pass the Justice Department, basically what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. But not the final plan.
Yes, right. 100%. It could be very much other plans or so.
I just wanted to make sure that I know where to start, shuffling things around to see whether or not come up with anything any better. It may not be, but that's the option that we are given.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Hopkins.
Yeah, and that's what that's partly what I wanted to say. This is a beginning plan. I know you took the information from 2010 and did what you thought necessary to provide us with a good plan.
And also, let me just say this. I did keenly take notes of the working sessions that we had.
Okay.
And if you look at District 4, was 100% of what was coming out, I think, session 4, and that variance a little bit more than 5% is 5.44. So that would have to be tweaked a little bit, but the District 4, so the workshops I had, I tried my best to do what that could be done out the workshop of what I had with y'all. So yeah, in least change, but yeah, the District 4 will have to be, because it's a little bit too large, but it was exactly what had come out, I think, work session 4, and I think I told Mr. Hopkins that earlier.
And so this is our opportunity now to come back with alternate plans that might be feasible. You did what you could, moving precincts around and stuff. We may have some other alternatives in moving precincts and see what that plan looks like. Whether it gets passed or okayed by this body is a whole different story, but we can sit down with you and do that type of
Yes, Commissioner
plan.
Hopkins, each
Okay.
one of y'all could come up with an option, 100% of a group or whatever, each one. That's
not unusual. That's
Right.
happened the last 2 times that I remember. We've had multiple plans. So, and it's just whatever we can as a body all support is what we're looking for. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Floyd. If I'm hearing you right, you took the raw data, and as the expert, you put together the plan. Am I hearing you right?
Correct.
And so you emailed us the plan, but this is really our first time seeing and dissecting the plan. I'd at least like to see us give some consideration, because it seems like some folks have already jumped to, well, we need another plan, and I'm not following that. And so what I'd like to see is have a conversation with you about the plan that you presented. And that's what I'm kind of focused on, is let's look at the plan that you have presented, because I don't, for whatever reason, I don't hear enough questions about the plan that you've actually presented. And so that's just kind of where I think the conversation should start. I don't know, you've done this for a while. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is my 5th census, doing redistricting, and yeah, I'm open
Fifth
to
this year or fifth?
5th time. I've been ever since the 1980 census. I've been doing redistricting, and this is my 5th census doing redistricting, and I'm open to any meeting or so. But let me just tell you this: just had a little history of Caddo School Board. We started off with Plan A, and we ended up with Plan A1, which was changing a half a precinct from
Gotcha.
the initial plan or so.
Gotcha.
And so I'm open to it. Each school board member had a chance to meet in groups by themselves. I think we had
Right.
8 different sessions, but at the end of the day, it was Plan A that was finally adopted with 10-2. It
Right.
really was 11-1, but it's really 10. It was 10-2, but it really 11-1 because one of the school board members didn't want one person to be by themselves.
But I would think that, and this is my last question, you're duty bound to draw plans that meet all of those requirements that you said or have listed here. Right?
And I will disclaim when in my opinion, they don't. Simple as
Okay.
that. When they drop below the level of Section 2 of that, yeah, I'll gladly do that. That's all part of my what I do. Mhm.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Floyd, thank you for the time that you put in to put together this Plan A. And you basically said you've been doing this for 40 years, and this was basically a non-biased map of looking at the benchmark, looking at where we need to go in order to do a Plan A. And so each precinct basically meets the deviation, and if you had to go to court, you could basically represent yourself in saying that this meets the guidelines of the federal government.
Yes, and I've been to court 16 times, all the time, and won every time since 1980.
Okay. So if there was, I guess, a particular plan that people wanted to move a certain race out and bring in a certain race, would that be legal to do?
You have to be between the windows, so I have to wait to see exactly what.
Okay.
And it's meaning that the districts are the districts and the demographics are the demographics, and at that particular time, I will let it be known to the group exactly
Okay.
what.
So in the 10-year time frame, did you see a shift in demographics in the districts?
Yes, and I'll talk about that on the second sheet right here. I have never seen it like this before, and I'm glad you asked that, and I'll get back to that handout and let you know.
So in 10 years, you can actually have a district that could go from majority one race to now minority another race.
Yes, what happened is District 10, in the 10 years, if you look at that column, and that's your, I think, your second or your third handout, at the time in District 10 had 21,783, white 12,727, black 7,888. In that 10-year period, I have never seen this before, 3,826 whites moved out. So that averaged about 32 whites every month for 10 years to move out of District 10. And it gained 3,432 blacks, and that's averaging about 29 blacks every month in the 10-year period moved in. So, without touching District 10, the benchmark plan has it as black majority 51.71, 21,893, black 11,320, white 8,901. So that happened to District 10, and that district is almost within the range. By losing 1,081, it comes into that 5% window, the top window of no movement has to be done. So yes, that happened in District 10, and what I propose in Plan A is to move one precinct out of District 10, and it meets the guidelines for it to be just like it is. The only precinct moved out of District 10 was Precinct 92, and it complies.
Okay. And then my last question, I think, is if we had a district that had, say, 85, 84% a particular race, could we look to dilute that particular one lower than that 85, 87%?
If it was possible in terms of what precincts are next to it.
Contiguous.
Yeah, precincts, and it's going to be a domino effect in terms of moving many precincts. So you could look to do that in terms of reducing the black percentages, if it's just say over 80%, and the white percentages in a white majority district. So that's one of the things that you could look to do.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Chavez, first time, and then we'll get to Commissioner Jackson, second time.
Thanks, President. Just feeling a little unrepresented here. Mr. Floyd, where are the Hispanics?
Well, Hispanic is ethnic, and so that you could be a white Hispanic, a black Hispanic, or whatever. But the others, which comes across, what I think, 10 different race categories. I passed that out, I think sometime in February or so. But you could have white Hispanics, black Hispanics, or whatever, and that's what the census did. But I do have the other races, and the other races are represented. I could send you that sheet by getting the total population, subtracting white and subtracting black in the other races. Mm-hmm.
How do I become a white Hispanic or a black Hispanic?
Well, that's what the census has done. I'm reporting exactly what the census has put down. I don't add to it, and I don't. So how the categories, the census, what they use, I use. Okay.
I think this needs to be redone. I know when I go to buy a firearm, it specifically states on a federal document I have to put Hispanic, non-white. So there's no category here, and these categories are derived from the U.S. Census.
Correct.
So like I said when I started, I feel very unrepresented.
Okay.
And I think we need to see it a little bit different because we have a huge Asian population here. We have a huge Hispanic population here. Huge. You can't pull up into a Mexican restaurant that's not booming here. You can't. So I'm glad this is Plan A, so I can see Plan B. Thanks, President.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Jackson.
Mr. Floyd, do you have a copy of the census form? I had another question, but I got to ask.
Not on me, but yeah, I can get you.
Can you send us a copy
of
the census form?
Okay.
Because I think that will dispel or at least kind of enlighten some of the categories and what individuals have the opportunity to declare. Because you don't declare anybody. You don't declare the demography. You don't declare anybody as
I report exactly what the census has, and I'm hesitant to add all others together. My wife is trying to get me to add all others. So you have others, you have Asian, Pacific, back and forth. I report exactly how it is, and I don't aggregate any the other eight races to be it. I just report it as it is, and I think I think Mr. Commissioner Epperson had asked for it, and everybody got a copy of it. All race categories.
Right.
Back
And I'm just curious, in the eyes of the census, those others, they are categorized as minority as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about majority, minority, when you start talking about those other races, Hispanic, Asian, black and white, individuals who are black and white, mixed, those are, the census count them as minorities, correct?
Correct. And also, when it comes down to Caddo Parish, there's no other race that has the opportunity to be in the majority, that many, in terms of if it's 19,000, you don't have any other race besides black or white that could be counted enough to be in the majority for a district. So
I just want to give folks out there listening that when you start talking majority, minority, and other races, those other races, that's fine to share that information, but they're all categorized by the definition of the census, not the demographer. They're categorized, and that's any demographer, they're categorized as minorities.
Yeah, and the demographers that's doing it, we use the same software and the same information from the 2020 census directly. My
last question to you is, I heard you at one point say that you did the school board plan. Is there any correlation, or, because I imagine same population, same parish, I imagine the parish commission didn't find 1,000 more people than the school board found. Do you work from the same numbers, and are there any correlation? I just, trying to figure that out.
Well, going in, school board districts 1, 10, and 12 were the same coming out of 2010. And this proposal also matches the school board districts 1, 10, and 12.
Gotcha.
And the other 9 districts are different, but districts 1, 10, and 12 are the same districts in the school board plan that's proposed in Plan A.
And
Correct.
This may be the dumbest question you've ever been asked. I assume you've used the same numbers.
Meaning that both the school board and the Caddo Parish Commission have 237,848.
Correct. Same
Correct.
parish, same numbers, same ideal district size, because you all both have the same 12 members. And
I didn't know if we had found another 2,500 people on the commission that they didn't have at the school board. I was just trying to make sure that you're working with the same numbers.
Same numbers.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Interesting question, Commissioner Jackson. I'm glad you asked. Let's see, I see no one else on the board. Mr. Floyd, thank you for your work on this. I know trying to get 12 of us all, or 7 of the 12 to agree could be a challenge. We may have some work in front of us, but you've been very willing to get together and hash through things, so we appreciate your time. Commissioner Burrell came up with one other question.
Just as a final question, Mr. Floyd, in producing Plan A, you said that was a neutral plan, that you had no input on Plan A from anyone other than yourself. That's your optimal
Correct,
plan.
but I had workshops with different commissioners, but no, this plan I drew on my drawing board to best fit using as a model plan. Correct.
But you didn't take any information from any commissioner in order to come up with your Plan A.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, just to be clear, Mr. Floyd, I mean, you took information from our workshops, and didn't you factor those workshops?
Yeah, but nobody called me and say, you have to do this, I took it like, you have to do District 4 like this, you have to do District 5 like this. After the workshops, I relatively did not get any more phone calls or meeting with commissioners. I think I met with y'all, it could have been, 10 days or so before I put it out, but no, nobody directed me to do any district. I was doing a model plan, the same thing I did with the school board, what I thought would fit the demographics of Caddo Parish for 2020 with as least change as possible, building it on the current 2010 plan.
But you did take the information from the workshop, which was actually given by commissioners to do Plan A?
Yeah, at the workshops, some created certain districts, some cluster districts, some plans, but that's normal, and I factored that, I factored, when I say looked at it, I'm always looking at, also the school board plan is also 12. I'm looking at it, but based on my observation and my expertise, I did this plan, and it has 9 districts different than the school board, but it matches 1, 10, and 12. But you see that it's as least change as possible, but to comply with the criteria for redistricting.
Well, I just wanted to be clear, because you did make the statement that Plan A did not have any input from, or influence.
Right. When I say influence, influence meaning that you have to do it this way, regardless if you feel that way or not. And it was not like that at all. That's what I mean. When somebody directs you authority to do District 4 like this, then you'll be directed, and you may feel differently. So when I went to go do it, I had no contact with anybody to come out, any commissioners to come out with any district like it is. But if something I like or something that should be done, I did it, simple as that. That's, so that's what it is. That's why I redistricted. I've done Claiborne, DeSoto 2 times in the midst of Sabine. Just finished Red River last week, and I'm working on Natchitoches this week, Natchitoches Parish. So, this is just what happens when it comes down to redistricting. You take input, and then you devise a model plan. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. We appreciate your time.
Yes, this is your copy, Dr. Wilson, of the plans.
Madam Clerk?
Okay, our next visitor is Ms. Latronia Durham.
I'm sorry, Ms. Clerk. Yes, sir, Commissioner?
I have a blank copy of the census form.
Okay.
Passing out.
All right, there's a blank copy of the census form being passed out. And I'm sorry, Ms. Nations, we'll let them tidy that front of the room up, and then we'll call on Ms. Durham. Thank you. think that's the next topic there on the board. Okay, Ms. Durham, I think we're ready for you. Welcome and thank you for coming down.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'd like to thank each one of you guys for the opportunity to be heard again. Well, you have the email. I sent over email copy of the PowerPoint in line with this request today. My company and I have received recognition from Shreveport to DC in the form of awards, rewards, a contender of the Black Excellence Award from the Shreveport-Bossier Chamber of Commerce, a nominee for Minority Business of the Year Award from the Greater Chamber of Commerce. However, I've yet to receive any financial assistance. Like given to the other businesses that's already here in Shreveport, or the attractive incentives that's designated to companies that's interested in doing business in Shreveport. I am a Shreveport native. My company is a part of every program Shreveport has to offer, at least every program that I've been told to join. It's the LED program, Fair Share program, Greater Chamber of Commerce, Shreveport-Bossier African American Chamber of Commerce, Goodwill Industries, Louisiana Workforce, and Northwest Louisiana PTAC. Our academy, Durham Transport Academy, is projected to equip over 110 individuals annually with commercial license, with at least 50% of those individuals becoming employed and remaining in Shreveport. Our current numbers as of today are at 90% graduation rate, with graduation level with 60% already working in Shreveport and 5% relocated for better employment opportunities, but they still have family here in Shreveport. I've self-funded our project up to $455,000, drained out my bank account, cashed out 401ks, I've given everything because it's my dream. But also, by doing so, I've created a greater social impact here in Shreveport. I've created better economic infrastructure here in Shreveport. We're still waiting to be put on the agenda, Dr. Wilson, put on the agenda for the Industrial Development Board, seeking $114,000 in the economic development request. But I understand there may be funds available from the city and from the Caddo Parish as well. Therefore, I'm asking the powers that be for assistance in the form of grants, a pilot program, or even the American Rescue Plan Act so that I can create a more safe working environment for my team. I've hired a consulting firm to assist in a more appealing manner to the mayor, a more professional conversation to the council, and a more detailed request from the commission board who created this PowerPoint. I've spoken with the mayor, several councilmen, and a few commissioners who are all verbally willing to help. But I stand alone today because I shouldn't have to be proper and I shouldn't have to use 5-syllable words to ask for help. I should be able to demonstrate what has been done, what can be done, and what's needed to help my city in the manner in which I can. And that's by continuing to target a certain demographic area to attend our post-secondary school and become a gainfully employed within a 90-day time period. Ultimately, President, that would be boosting our economy by allowing dollars to be made and spent here, whether it be on housing, cars, or grocery. And again, I speak from the heart. I'm from here. I'm growing my business here. If the Lord say the same, I'll be here for a while. But while I'm here, I need the city's help to continue assisting the citizens of Shreveport. And that's why I'm here today.
Okay. Well, thank you. Is that the end of the presentation?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Any questions for Ms. Durham? Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. Ms. Durham, thank you for coming down. Do you have an 18-wheeler school here in Caddo Parish?
I do.
And do you take students that are out of high school, or how do the students find out about the school?
Right now, we're doing a lot of boots on the ground. Where we just creating a website as we speak. We go out to all the high schools, and we're targeting underserved communities. We're targeting the schools where counselors are already telling us, like, you got 50% of the students not going to college. So we're trying to offer this post-secondary education, hey, so you can get a job.
Can you do, is your website already up and running? Or are you working on that right now?
We created a website. We try to go out the cheap way, running out of funds, but now we have hired a marketing team to help us boost it. So if you pull our website up now, you will see it, but within the next 30 days, that will change, Commissioner Chavez.
I would, Dr. Wilson, I'd love to see a scenario where we do an exhibition where one of these cool 18-wheeler trucks comes to juvenile justice, and if we have trustees, so to speak, or students that can look at going to the truck and possibly getting a CDL license and getting them gainfully employed, or partner with Ms. Durham. We have all these events that are going on over this summer. We have all these student workers that are up here. I think it'd be super cool to bring the truck up here, let the students climb in the truck, and envision themselves as a CDL holder making revenue, building a family, having gainful employment here, driving an 18-wheeler truck. All it takes is to spark the interest, and if we can help do something where we're putting money into all these other organizations throughout this summer where we're sponsoring events, why not let the Durham Transport bring one of their trucks out there and showcase their truck and accept applications from the citizens? I think we should probably call a economic development committee meeting and dive a little bit more into this. It seems like something that could benefit the community, and we're just not capitalizing on it. I'll get with you offline about it. Ms. Durham, I appreciate the email that you sent out to me. I've actually been working with a student that I'm trying to help. She wants to grow a business,
Yes.
and her idea was to start an 18-wheeler company. She's 22 and she's an inspiring entrepreneur, but I'd love to link you guys up. She wants to be a minority business owner as well, and I have a feeling that there could be some cool unity between the two of you. I'll reach back out via that email, and we'll see if we can do something from the parish, from the Economic Development Committee.
Absolutely, and I look forward to speaking with her.
Thank you, President.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Ms. Durham, for coming down and excuse me, sharing this information. Just want to emphasize, put emphasis on the fact that Harvard Business School sent down a group to study, excuse me, Ms. Durham's business and how it's structured. And much of this presentation that you have before you was helped put together by students from Harvard Business School. They like what she's doing, and I think if she can catch the attention from people from DC and beyond, she most certainly should have our attention as well. And so thank you for Commissioner Chavez for wanting to take a look at that through the Economic Development Committee. I think with her being in an area, just so happens to be in my district, that is right in the same corridor with oil field companies and 2 trucking warehouses, there's opportunity literally right next door to her to put people immediately to work. And so it's in a low income area, high poverty area. We need to make sure that we're doing and showing our citizens as much as possible that wherever there are opportunities created for them to have a better quality of life, that we're doing what we can within our parameters to assist local business owners to do that. I think it sends a message to business owners and post-secondary education businesses that the parish and the city and the government is behind what they're trying to do. In whichever way we can do that. And so thank you for coming down and sharing this information with us, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you,
Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Durham, thank you so much for being here. I think that you're inspiring, and I identify with you a little bit because I used to own a small business much smaller than yours, and I noticed when I owned that every time I interacted with the government, it was a bill I had to pay, and they never gave me money. But I do remember them giving money to very big businesses, usually based out of state. And I salute you for having a business here and for keeping your money and your savings here and being a part of our community and not exporting your profits. And whatever you need, I'll vote for. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a big open statement. Commissioner Talaferro.
I don't know if I can follow that. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Durham, thank you again. I echo the sentiments of my commissioners here. And I appreciate the magnitude of your business. I mean, when you give the numbers that you've invested, I can't fathom that much money putting into a business, and I know that other business owners and entrepreneurs can, and I appreciate your tenacity for sticking with it. A couple of things that I'd just like to, what's your tuition for, I gotta tell you that every time I see an 18-wheeler, I tell my wife, I surely love to drive one of those. So what's the tuition for? What's the tuition for the?
The tuition is $5,500. That pays for a 4-week course, a 160-hour course, and it's the cheapest rate within a 300-mile radius.
Cheapest rate and the best skill set, right?
Yes, yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
And so when your students, when I go and apply, what kind of loans can I apply for to help me pay your tuition?
That's the problem. You have to, in order to be, that's the major problem. In order for me to offer you any financial assistance, I have to be operable for 2 years. Before you get Title IV money from the government, you have to be out for 2 years. And that's why a lot of businesses fail the first 2 years. So right now I'm totally reliant on Louisiana Workforce, the WEO program.
Okay.
So they will pay a tuition for a student. However, I don't know, I don't want to chop your last name up. So Councilman Jim, this is how things are working.
Chop it up, it's okay.
This is how things are working. Okay, if the Louisiana Workforce Commission sends me 5 students at $5,500 per student, they actually have to go through the course for 4 weeks. Then they have to test out. They get an opportunity to test twice if they don't pass. But you cannot invoice Louisiana Workforce Commission until they finish the course. So for about 6 to 7 weeks, I'm paying payroll times for those people. I'm paying payroll, I'm paying maintenance costs, I'm paying fuel costs, I'm paying MVR expense, I'm paying all these expenses out of pocket. And right now, I mean, there should be something from the city for us. Okay, here's some grant dollars for these students or for these individuals who on the borderline of going to jail, on the borderline of shooting somebody up, on the borderline of here's some grant money, get out there in the city, talk to these individuals, get them over to school, let's change their life. Here's something, but I can only talk to so many people. I don't have money to put anybody through school, but my city does. So that's the biggest downfall right now, Commissioner Jim, is the grant money to get them in school and the money that I need to take care of payroll and take care of expenses while I'm waiting on the money to be paid from Louisiana Workforce Commission.
Understand. I didn't know if anybody else understood that was one of the reasons I asked the question. And so what's your percentage of graduation? I mean, I presume that a majority of your students graduate.
Right now, we're at 90% graduation right now.
Okay.
And like I say, I think 60% already working here, employed in Shreveport, already making money, already leaving reviews. I mean, that's happy. That's what makes me happy. So you got these young folks that's coming into the office. I mean, they're calling, they're thanking me, they're spreading the word, they're spreading the news. But most people in the underserved communities don't have $5,500 to pay for the program.
And your job, and did I ask you do you have a main employer of your students who graduate? I mean, is there someone that religiously hires, or is it just across the board? It's just anyone in the transportation business?
Well, right now, it's really crazy, Councilman Jim. I'm partnered with the DART, Dallas Area Rapid Transit. I'm partnered with they're in agreement to hire my students at $22 an hour the day of graduation.
Wow, that's great.
Right, and I'm not partnered with the city of Shreveport yet. I'm not partnered with all the entities that's here, but I'm thinking that's because my name is not out there. I'm not on the web, not marketing myself enough, but again, it takes funds.
Well, if anybody's paying attention to this meeting today, you're doing a heck of a job at marketing yourself, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Talaferro. Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Wilson, the Industrial Development Board went through some grant process where they were given. Have they completed that?
Yes, sir. They have the committee headed up by Attorney William Bradford.
Right.
And they set aside a allotment of money to consider grants, small grants, So as long as we need to get her on their agenda so she can entertain it.
I had a meeting last week. Why she didn't make the agenda?
Don't know. We don't control.
Do we have to request it? I thought you could request it.
No, sir. I mean,
Who has to request?
I think anybody desiring to go before the board can make the request.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get with somebody on the board now.
I'm
They may be up, because I'm gonna
forward.
because this is the second time she's come down here.
Yes.
And she can come down here time after time after time after time, but until somebody puts something on the agenda, whether at the Industrial Development Board or down here, she just be coming down here.
Yes, sir. Well, here, we need an NGO application.
Right.
First thing, order business.
Right.
Second thing is the IDB board only meets when required. So, they meet not regularly, but sporadically.
Right.
So it's a matter of getting in touch with Cal and ask to be put on the agenda.
So can you ask Kyle?
Yes, sir. I've already talked to Commissioner Chavez.
Okay.
And asked him to forward me her email address.
Okay.
So I can forward that.
Because I didn't hear her say she needed people to come test the truck out. I heard her say she needed resources, capital.
I'm talking to him about resource.
Right. So it sounds like she needs to get on 2 agendas. It sounds like she needs to get on the Commission Economic Development agenda.
That's correct.
And it sounds like she needs to get on
IDB
the
board.
IDB's agenda.
That's correct.
To be a part of that program. And
Right.
you're giving us your word today that you're gonna.
I asked Commissioner Chavez to forward me her email address. I don't have it.
Okay.
So when he forwarded it to me,
I did it, Doc.
I'm going to forward it to the right persons so they can make contact and let her know when they'll be meeting again.
Right, but I'm requesting, I guess I'm asking a more specific request to get her on those agendas, because as the administrator.
I'm gonna send her the application.
Okay.
And then Commissioner Chavez is going to schedule that meeting.
Okay.
And then y'all gonna entertain her request.
Okay, and then the Industrial Development Board.
Well, I'm gonna
how
forward
you
it
gonna
to Cal and request that contact Mr. Irvin to arrange a time that she can get on their agenda.
Okay.
And let the potato chip rip.
Okay, because Dr. Wilson can do a lot.
If I heard from the last time I was here.
Yeah.
I didn't have your email, Mr. Durham.
Yeah.
I would already had the task completed if I had that information.
Yeah.
I'll make sure you get it this time.
Because I got a practice and protocol where I don't go into other folks' district where I'll talk to you, but like I told you in the hallway, it's either got to be the administration or your commissioner or the chair of the Economic Development Committee. And so you need some specific tasks with you. The other thing that I would encourage you, even before we go down this process, is that we have resources, so we can do things like pilots, but cash, things like that, is usually a one-time thing. And so I want to make sure that expectations going in is understood, because what you sound like you got is a recurring issue. There are WIOA dollars out there. That's with the city of Shreveport. We don't do WIOA here. But we have been known to help kind of jumpstart endeavors and projects and invest. And I think, NLEP called a couple of weeks ago. So obviously there's a pool of money sitting around somewhere for something. And so there's a pool of dollars that have been set aside for something. And I think if we peel off some of that to help you out, I mean, I'm all for helping folks stay employed and meeting a critical need, particularly as we talk about supply chain issues. But, we can't do anything until we get legislation. And I think Dr. Wilson probably is best positioned to help you out, get you to those doors. And then there's also a CEO roundtable. Somebody does a CEO roundtable. Is that BRF? Somebody does a CEO roundtable talking about, because I don't know that we're going to be happy to train students to go to Dallas. I know I'm not going to be happy to do that. So we want those students to stay here. And so we need to see what those partnerships and what those companies are out there that need that partnership. But if you could also, Dr. Wilson, check your expansive Rolodex for the CEO roundtable. Somebody in town does a CEO roundtable, and I think they do it like monthly or maybe quarterly. I think it might even be NLEP that does it, or the chamber, but where you can go in front of those CEOs, make your pitch. Does BRF still do the angel investors?
Yes, sir.
That's equity, cash. Do they do cash?
Yes.
It's equity.
So
That's their
can
job.
you put her?
Yeah,
Is
I'll
that
get-
one of the industries that they looking at, or do you know?
Don't know, but I can put her in touch.
John?
I'll put her in touch with the board CEO.
Okay.
They can communicate.
Okay.
with-
So you got 3 groups you're gonna put her in. The Economic Development, IDB, and NLEP. We'll see in the next week or so. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Still have some more questions, Mr. Let's see. I'm going to hold mine. Vice President Commissioner Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Durham, we met last time, and I think when we talked, there's supposed to be the folks that was coming out of Dallas, I think, with this program, Trucking Appreciation. Did that ever take place, or?
Say it again, the truck.
Yeah, they were coming out of Dallas. They did accounting for trucking companies. They work with the trucking businesses to talk about resources that may be out there. I gave you a card, I believe, or maybe it was your sister was with you, wasn't it?
Yes, she was.
Yeah, I gave her that card. But the second thing I wanted to ask from the state standpoint, you said the workforce program is the only program that you've gotten any support from?
Yes, sir.
There should be more than just WEA out there that you ought to be able to go through the state for. Your state representative in that area would be Ms. Phelps. I think your state representative should be Ms. Phelps.
Miss Tammy Phelps? Okay.
Yeah, you may want to talk to her, or either Jenkins. You don't have to be in your district. I don't believe in the district thing when it comes down to the state. To get them to research maybe some resources that the state may have. I know they used to have minority business support programs at the state, but unfortunately, Governor Jenner came in and he wiped all those out because of a constitutional amendment that was in there that said they could not have support programs like that. So I know he wiped that out. But there are other programs that you may be able to access. But just ask your state representative, either Phelps or Sam, well, Representative Jenkins, or either Senator Tarver. I mean, he's your senator.
Okay.
So, that's what they're there for. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barron.
Thank you. Commissioner Epperson.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Durham, maybe you should try the Shreveport Chamber of Commerce. Have you had any dealings with them?
Which the Shreveport.
Shreveport Chamber of Commerce.
Shreveport Shreveport.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. The Shreveport Chamber of Commerce.
Greater Chamber.
The
Greater Chamber.
Yes, ma'am. The other chamber.
Well,
Anyway, I think they have a leadership course, and this may be a good something that I think maybe you can introduce to them, and they might want to put that on their agenda. They may be able to help you out. Okay.
I sure will.
Okay, you can contact me, and I'll get you the number. Okay.
Okay.
And my next deal is I think the YMCA is getting into economic development. You all saw the advertisement they put out. They got Justin Dixon and Eric England from the port, and the Greater Shreveport, the Greater Bossier City Economic Development. See if you can get in touch with them and see if they can put her on the agenda. And I see Mr. Fred Moss still in the back with the Good Time Rose Festival. Be nice if we can find a spot down there on the 17th, 18th, 19th. Park her trailer and her 18-wheeler down there and give her some exposure there. What do you think about that? Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Councilman Epperson.
Okay. Seeing no one else on the board, Mr. Durham, thank you for coming down. I just want to comment on some of the discussion we've had earlier. First of all, I appreciate your entrepreneurial spirit and what you're trying to do and what you have done. But I just want to set some expectations. The parish is not in the business of just giving out taxpayer dollars, to help for-profit businesses, because then every for-profit business in the parish would come to us and ask for money. So in order for one to earn parish support, there would have to be an illustration of economic impact on the parish and the positive impact of your business on the parish. So that would be in the form of local employees, local education, aspects or issues like that. So I'm just trying to kind of set expectation and let you know our perspective as we enter into this discussion. Secondly, there's some discussions internally about the economic development funding process, and there is a proposal on the table to go to a more structured process where economic development projects are only considered once a year, which would occur, an application would typically occur somewhere in the July framework for funding that would be received the following January, February, the following year. So I just wanted to give you that perspective so you could plan accordingly as you think through how this might play out. And lastly, I would suggest that you follow the recommendation given earlier, that you reach out to Commissioner Chavez, the chair of the Economic Development Committee. That's where this discussion would start within the Caddo Parish Commission. And maybe there's an angle that we could work that provides some funding, but I think it would probably be, it's not going to be a make or break thing. It might help a little bit, but I certainly would encourage you to continue with your other channels of exploration to secure a long-term funding approach, be that a bank or equity. And Commissioner Jackson's comment about the Angel Fund Network out of the BRF, that might be something that could be helpful to you.
Okay.
So I would encourage you to reach out to the BRF.
Okay.
And I just wanted to make sure that you kind of saw the perspective that we were coming from as Caddo Parish Commissioners. We applaud you, we want to be supportive, but we can't just hand out money willy-nilly without the citizens of Caddo receiving something in return. Commissioner Burrell?
Just something that came to mind, Ms. Durham. Amazon is coming here, supposedly. I know that they've been postponed, but a lot of those private companies has a benevolent arm that may be able to, they may have grant opportunities, may want to go online and check that may donate money a lot of times. So a lot of times they'll have a benevolent arm in which they'll put that out. And given the fact that you're in an industry that is their main industry, that could be a source.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Thank you, Ms. Durham, so much for coming down.
Thank you, President. Thank all you guys for here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Madam Clerk?
Okay, our next item is going to be reports, administrator report.
Dr. Wilson?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Commissioners. We were going to talk to you today about the disparity study. I don't see it here in the room. So let me defer that until Thursday if you do all don't mind. Because I think Commissioner Burrell asked that we kind of give a explanation on the outcome of the Dean study, of the disparity study. So we'll do that. And we'll have that ready for you on Thursday.
On Thursday, okay. Are you directing that to Commissioner Burrell?
Yes, Commissioner Burrell.
I'm doing it for the.
Okay, but I didn't know if you, I just want to make sure you
I
heard
know
it.
several of you all went to the presentation at the Skybox. So I think some folks were not there, so we'll attempt to kind of do an overview of what was said at the Skybox and answer any questions you may have relative to that.
Go ahead.
I may suggest too that the commissioners, I believe it's online, that you can go and take a look at the study.
Yes, sir, it is.
You may have some questions. I know there were some unanswered questions when we went to the forum. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, sir. And the other item, the census on the detention center, we have 25 children in the detention center, 12 17-year-olds, 7 belonging to OJJ, they're waiting to be picked up, and we have 10 at CCC. And for the last month, we've been at capacity, but mostly due to the fact that OJJ has been somewhat delayed in coming and getting the kids out to bring us back down below a manageable number, but we're making it work.
Is OJJ filled? Is that why, or is it just a timing issue?
It's a timing issue.
Okay.
So that concludes my report, unless you have any questions for me,
Thank
sir.
you, Dr. Wilson. I see we have a couple of questions on the board. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Wilson.
Yes, sir.
I know they're moving on doing removing the monument.
Yes, sir.
Do we still have a timeline of when it's supposed to be completely removed from 500 block of Texas Street?
Yes, sir. That we had, I think, several months out. But let me say this. I've been looking at it. Things been going really fast, and a little bit different than we expected. We thought we would have to do, the contractor would end up cutting some stone. That's not the case. It's coming apart in sections, and as you probably looked out the other day, they are down almost to the platform. So those platforms that the rest of the monument is sitting on now are sectional pieces that can be removed very easily. So the contractor, in my opinion, is way ahead of schedule.
So is that more money that we get back?
I'm not sure, sir. They agreed to work for a fixed amount of money, and I don't know the answer to that question right now. But I know it was a fixed sum contract, so
Okay.
they agreed to work for a certain amount of money, whether difficult or easy. But we thought it was more difficult than easy when we first looked at the project, because we didn't know.
Okay. What about the COVID numbers? I know in the United States, it's about a 200% increase in the last couple of weeks. Has it impacted the parish and its agencies?
No, sir. We haven't had any self-reported internal infections that I'm aware of as of today.
Okay.
And I have Ms. Cheryl tracking that for me, and I've not gotten a report, so I would think we have not been impacted in the last few weeks, but I wouldn't be able to see if that's still the case.
Okay. The signs coming into Caddo Parish, we still rolling with that?
On I-49?
I-49.
Yes, sir. Let me get a quick update for you.
Everything's still moving forward. The contractor's having a slight supply issue with the stone manufacturer. That's delayed him some, but he still has the contract end date's the end of July, and he still thinks he can make the end of that no problem.
Okay.
So his actual physical work, nothing has commenced yet.
Okay. I still want to be in office by the time they get up.
Yes, sir.
When's the end of that?
End of next year.
Sir?
End of next year.
Okay, we got you. You'll be good.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And then during the Louisiana Police Jury Association legislative day, me and Commissioner Gage Watts kind of cornered the Secretary of State and holding a discussion with him about the second early voting location. And from the conversation that we had, he told us that it would not be available for the fall because of infrastructure that has to be done, and it just wasn't, time-wise, it just wasn't going to be available. And what I would like to do, and I'm going to put it on the agenda next time we meet, is redirect for the fall election of having it at the Louisiana State Museum. Because in talking to him, he said that it's a ready site. All you got to do is bring the equipment in and plug and play, and it's ready to go. And I think we owe it to the citizens of Caddo Parish to have a second location. Being that this other one will not be ready, we need to have it for this particular election. This is one of the bigger elections that we'll have because it's the mayor, city council, and school board members. So it's a pretty good election. So we need to make sure that we have the machines and the second location in place, even if it's a temporary one for the fall election, and they can continue to work on the other one. But we should not sit back and just say everybody still come downtown, stand in the line, and do all that. We ought to grant the citizens that second location for early voting and get one that's plug and play, ready to go. It's already ready. The infrastructure is already there. All he says, he has to get the okay and put the machines in. And he said that was one of the sites that he had recommended from the very beginning because it wouldn't cost the parish that much money to just set it up, other than the workers, but not for us having the expense, the infrastructure to get it up and ready. So basically what we did was
produce an expenditure by putting it at Southern Hills that it could have been easily at the fairgrounds and been ready to go. So, to my Republican colleagues, how y'all want to hold tight to public dollars? Y'all wasting it right now. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Epperson.
Attorney Frazier,
Yes, sir.
could you get Attorney Bernstein to give me for on Thursday a detailed report as to actually what transpired at the Parish Planning and Zoning Board meeting on June the 2nd relative to Testament LLC, Testament Real Estate, whatever they go as. I was totally embarrassed to have had to sit there at that meeting, and I felt sorry for those board members. And it's a debacle. The citizens are losing faith and confidence in us with the decisions that was made and what's transpiring on that property at 7115 Greenwood Road going on over a year and a half. So would you please have that report ready for me? I'd like it publicly displayed because it's totally confusing. And then I understand that there's still a lawsuit about the appeal of the decision where the commission overturned the original zoning ordinance that's just sitting there in court. However, everything is transpiring on that property just as if they were totally legal. Day and night, dust, traffic, noise, mud. If we have policies and we have laws and they don't have any teeth, we need to get rid of them. If we have boards and we have commissions that can't make intelligent and articulate and definitive decisions, those people need to go back home. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had a question. I guess it's for Director Walker, but maybe you can also answer it.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Yes, I have a question about juvenile and the OJJ timing issue you described. Since we have so many OJJ kids, what is the nature of the timing issue? Is it just transportation, or?
The problem we're having with OJJ for the last month is that all of their facilities are also full.
So it's not temporary.
It's a. I don't know. I mean, I don't see a window. I don't see it ending anytime soon. They're backed up. What I can say is normally in June and July, those are our two lowest intake months of the year for the last 12 years. There may be that downturn across the state where OJJ would get some relief, but the bottom line is they're struggling with the number of beds that they have.
So they have no bed capacity, and when they eventually get bed capacity by letting someone out because it's appropriate, then they come and get people from our detention center.
Correct.
Kids from our detention center.
Correct. And we're on that list with all the other 12 detention centers in the state. That's our primary problem right now in terms of capacity. I think we have 7 or 8 kids right now that are committed to OJJ in our detention center. If they were able to come and get them and transport them to the state facility, we wouldn't be having a population problem in detention.
Do you know what the OJJ capacity is roughly?
I think roughly 250 to 300 in secure care, and I don't know in non-secure group homes. But both, I would say, are too low. This is a long-time problem. This is funding cuts that happened 10 years ago. But they were funding cuts, and they lowered their capacity, I think, in an effort to save money and not over-incarcerate. And I think it ultimately ended up maybe getting too many beds. They need more funding and they need more beds for the kids that we have.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Young. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, Dr. Wilson, if you could, I had made a request for years ago for inmate, how much we're spending on inmate care, and a list of what we were spending it on. I don't need their names because that's confidential information. But if I could ever get a list of what services, and I say this because this morning I was leaving gym, and I was leaving, going back home about maybe 6 o'clock, no, really about 6:30. And I saw the inmate van pull in to the dialysis center. And as I came for the 2 o'clock NGO meeting, the inmate van was there. And those are expenses that are being burdened with taxpayers. And I just think we need to find a way to push inmate care back to the insurance companies that are supposed to be paying for it and not taxpayers. The budget that I saw, it looked like we have $7 million allocated for inmate care. I also, that same facility saw that same inmate van there on last Monday, Memorial Day? Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
So dialysis can get expensive.
Yes, sir.
And so
Yes.
I hope we are really tracking that. And if I can get a list of just what the services are and the amount we're spending on it, and then I think we could drill down some other things from there. But I don't want to know anybody's patient records, or I don't want to know what their treatment plan. I don't want to know that. I just want to know what are we spending $7 million on. That's a lot of health care.
Yes, sir, it is.
And that's a lot of money that can be used and repurposed else. I'm sorry, did I cut you?
Oh, no, I was going to tell you, it's a national problem. When we go to NACO, the session on that topic is so filled that there's no room in the room. You got to stand out in the hallway. And unfortunately, when inmates goes to CCC, they lose their Medicare,
They don't lose
veterans care.
They don't lose it. It's suspended.
Well, suspended.
Right.
They can't use it.
Right.
And it doesn't benefit us.
Right.
Or the individual.
Right.
So we incur all the costs, anything that they will require. And we have worked with the sheriff department and the court system. If we have inmates that are requiring dialysis and other things that are very expensive, to try to expedite their adjudication so it can be determined whether they need to still be in our facility or not.
Do we ask for any copays?
No, sir. I don't believe we do, because most of the people we get, they don't have either one of those. They're indigent, and we have to bear the cost.
And do we ever, this may be a really technical question, and if you got to get back to me, but do we ever try to pursue payments from those insurance companies on their behalf? Or is that not allowed?
I'm not sure the answer to that question, sir. I need to get back with you on that one. We've never thought about suing anybody for that care because it's
I said pursue, not sue. Pursue, not sue, but pursue, even if you got to do it.
Well.
But definitely make a claim to those insurance companies.
I wish we could. that would significantly reduce what we have to pay. But certainly a lot of people end up in our system that have neither one, need coverage, Medicare, any type of insurance. And that's part of the problem. You know, we have a lot of people in our facility that are mental patients.
Right.
And then we get them stabilized, they go back out, and then they end up back in the facility again because they become unstable with not having wraparound services in the community. So it's a vicious cycle.
Gotcha. Well, I'd like to see
But I'll get to
a list of
I'll get it for
what
you.
specifically we are paying services for. I don't want names. Again, I don't want
sir,
anybody's
I got it.
name. I don't want no treatment plans. I don't want any of that. I just want to see what are we paying for services for, because that's a lot of money that I think could be, even if we just cut it in half, can be put back into other places.
Yes, sir.
So,
I agree.
and the news about the early voting site was new to me. The last conversation I heard on it was that an MOU was getting ready to be signed. So if you could.
Yeah, we signed, the MOU was signed.
Okay.
The MOU was signed. And just by chance, the Register of Voter reached out to me today and asked me if I could meet with him tomorrow at 1:30.
Okay.
And apparently he wanted to discuss this issue.
Mhm.
So I'll know more tomorrow
Okay.
after we meet.
Gotcha. Well, that's news. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Chavez,
President, will you put me on later? Just take me on. Thank you.
Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Wilson, I will start on the early voting site location, and I guess that you will give us an update on your meeting with Dale on tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because we haven't been successful to get him to come down to the meeting. But as Commissioner Johnson stated, we were advised that the site would not be ready, and I did already communicate with Mrs. CAO about adding it to our next agenda because of the infrastructure that is up and ready to go and that he is very supportive of. That was the very first thing that I wanted to talk to you about. So I'll be looking forward to hearing more information about that.
Okay.
My second question for you is the tornado sirens.
Yes, ma'am.
And I haven't gotten an update yet.
Yes, ma'am. I've spoken to Keith Hansen twice, one of those times being early today.
Okay.
And to remind him that I need to move that subject forward. And he said he hadn't forgotten me. So, but I've talked to him twice in the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
The day being one of them.
Okay. If we don't get anything by Thursday, then we'll work on proposing something for our next meeting.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
And the last request I have, if you would, please light the courthouse red on June 19th for World Sickle Cell Awareness Day. Thank you. Kevin giving me the thumbs up over there. Thank you so much.
Okay,
That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Burrell, Commissioner Vice President Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple of things. First, on these orphan wells, I've sent several emails, and I'm not really pleased with the response that I've gotten back. I've asked them about the monies that should come to Caddo Parish, since we have a disproportionate number up here. The last thing I saw was that they can't determine the amount of money that we're going to get.
They can't do what?
That they could not determine the amount of money that would come to Caddo Parish.
I think that was the answer he gave us.
Matter of fact, they didn't even give the a clear answer on how much would even come into Louisiana.
Who is they, Commissioner Burrell?
That's whoever they are down there.
Yes, sir.
Natural Resource Department.
DNR.
DNR?
Yes, sir. We've been in touch with DNR relative to orphan wells, because they had responsibility to take care of
DNR
those.
seems to be missing in action when it comes down to getting information. So somebody needs to relay some information to us. It's my understanding that there is some contact person here in Caddo Parish that deals with that, but I've never seen him down here, and I know we've requested him to come, and I asked him to come to the Natural Resource Department, committee. So that has really been lax. The only other thing is, Mr. President, well, I would save that to public comments.
Okay.
That's it right now.
Is that it? Okay. Commissioner Talaferro.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I can call on Mr. Clark to give us an update, or whomever is responsible for the construction going on at Animal Services and the conditions of the misters that are they operable, inoperable due to the construction, and what we're doing to kind of augment those if we're doing anything. I don't know, extra fans, or how are we doing down there, because I know it's brutal. Oh, first of all, thank you so much for everything you've been doing the last week or so. I know that we have been inundated with excuse me, animals, and I know that rescues are working around the clock to try to hopefully they are, to try to alleviate some of that population. But I appreciate all your efforts and your crew and your staff. Thank you so much.
All right, the misting system should be
Mr.
back
Clark,
up and
please
running.
take your mask off so we can understand you better.
Sorry. Misting system should be back up and running by next week. They've been doing some plumbing upgrades. The animals are still being iced every day to help offset heat, and now they have more shade because the structures have been elongated or extended. Still waiting on kennels right now. and the electrical upgrades and things like that. But the construction is coming along pretty good.
Do we have an end date on when we expect it to be
The
complete?
end date was April 29th.
Well, I knew it passed that. I just didn't know if we had a, come on.
Yes, sir. Both contractors for the kennel addition and the mechanical upgrade are experiencing major supply chain issues. We're almost a year on chillers. And the suppliers basically say, well, you'll get it when you get it.
When you get it.
And they hang up on you. So I don't have an actual end date yet. All I can tell you is we are desperately trying to get our hands on material.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No worries. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Talfair. Commissioner Chavez.
No, the end, I mean the end of the agenda. Thank you.
The end of the full agenda? Okay.
Try to
Help-
get through the agenda.
Help me remember. Commissioner, did you have, Commissioner Johnson, second time?
Yes, Dr. Wilson, on the weekend of the 17th through the 19th, can we get the courthouse in purple and gold?
Kevin's like, yeah. Kevin said yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Okay, thank you.
Is that it, Commissioner Johnson? Is that, are you done?
That's it. Yeah, I forgot that earlier.
Okay, all right, so that should take care of administrative reports. Dr. Wilson, did you have anything else to add, or are you done?
No, sir, that concludes my report, sir.
Okay.
Okay, now we move to commission remarks. The agenda just went down, so just give me a.
Okay, we are on commission remarks. Are there, if you've got remarks, please get on the board. Commissioner Johnson, you're on the board. Is that old? And Commissioner Talfair, is that old?
That's old. I'm sorry. I thought that's.
Yeah, let's just try to clear things.
Commission remarks for work session items.
Yes,
Oh.
that does include 8.1. Discuss status of additional early voting site as well, is listed.
Okay, well, I'm back up.
Okay. So do we have any commission remarks related to the work session? Seeing no one, and I think we already have discussed the additional early voting site.
Well, we might need to talk about it some more, because I didn't hear any opposition to what I was saying.
Well, the president's report is here, so I could speak to that now.
But we still on 8.1 though, so. I want to, if there's no rebuttal, then, we need to move forward with doing it, but if there's some rebuttal,
Well,
then.
you haven't proposed any action. You've asked the administrator.
I want to know if there's gonna be any rebuttal, so
I'm still not comfortable, well, as I will take my opportunity to speak here and say I've never been comfortable, I've never been comfortable with the fairgrounds being the secondary voting site. You know that I feel like it's not a fair and balanced location. So I just think you and I are gonna just have to disagree on that. It's like, when you and your spouse disagree, sometimes you just shake your head and walk the other way. But I don't know that you and I'll ever agree on that, Commissioner Johnson.
Well, I'm just saying, nowhere in the parish would it be a 50-50 spot.
Who wins?
Nowhere in the parish would there be a 50-50 spot. So therefore, we gotta do something other than sit here and say, well, we're gonna spend extra dollars and then it won't be available for the fall. And then we come back and say, well, it'll be ready in 2023. Come on, let's go ahead and make it a second location for early voting. It could be temporary for this fall election, but at least give the citizens a second location to go to instead of coming downtown. If the State Fair Museum was somewhere else, it doesn't matter to me what district it's in or where it's at. It's a place where you can plug and play and make it go. That's it. Set aside the where it's located and all that kind of stuff. We're talking about early voting, daytime hours. We're talking about you're going to already have security there. People go there all the time. There's no incidents. So is it a public safety concern? Is it because it's in the middle of the hood? What is the reason?
I've told you the reason. I think that given the demographics around that location, that's like if I wanted to put an early voting location in Long Lake, how would you feel about that?
If Long Lake was plug and play, I'll go over there and go in there and make my vote and come on back out of there.
I think I'm not sure that would be the case, but
that would be the case. Why would I be hesitant to not just early voting? So that means people from all over the parish can come to that spot. It's not designated that people in Queensboro, Motown, and the surrounding other areas are gonna be the only ones utilizing this spot. It's early voting. So Todd could have some people coming from Mall City down there.
That's true.
That could be some people from Keyville
Well,
coming down there. But it's a location where it's early voting. It's not stopping nobody in Caddo Parish from coming to that museum. Everybody knows where it's at. I mean, most kids, you went to it as a childhood, you went to it when you was a child, and so everybody knows where it's at. They know where the fairgrounds is. So it's an easy access in and out. There's no advantage for it being it's in the heart of a Democratic area. The parish is Democratic.
Well,
So-
you have a chance to put it on the agenda. When it comes up on the agenda, we'll discuss it
Well,
further.
I'm just still discussing. My time ain't
You're
ran
not
out yet.
discussing, you're talking. There's no one else to discuss.
That's the discussion. I mean, you said that you would not want it to be there, and I'm giving points of why it should be there.
Okay.
Because it's plug and play, and it won't cost tax dollars money to do it. I mean, we got to set aside our egos and our personal vendettas about location and do what's best for the parish. I mean, just like you asked me, would I come out to that area, Lakewood? Yeah, I'll go out there if it's a spot for me to go vote. I'm going to go, make my vote, and I'm going to leave. I go anywhere in the parish that's right if it makes sense to go, because if you look at the numbers, it makes sense to have it in Shreveport than to have it at the end, the southern tip or the northern tip of the parish, because most of the people are in the center part of the parish. If we change the demographics of where people stay at, I would say move it out where the people are. But the people are in the center part of the parish. But we want to sit here and say, no, we can't do it because Democrats, Republicans, blacks, whites, I don't feel it's safe. I mean, how you define what's safe and what's not? There's no plastic bubbles. There are no plastic bubbles in any of these neighborhoods. No plastic bubbles. So I'll bring it back up in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, Mr. President, as we have been discussing this issue, I guess the registrar is watching, and I did get a text message that that's not the case. And,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said, as we have been discussing this issue, I guess our registrar is watching and said that is not the case. In fact, they do have an MOU signed, and that there is a meeting. And so I would just encourage us, whatever comes on the agenda, that we at least defer or get a report back from our administrator or ask the registrar to come present that at the appropriate time. But he did text me to say that they have moved forward. They're actually moving forward now with getting that site ready to go. So whatever it is, I assume he's watching as with anybody else, and he texted me to say that that's not the case. So I would just encourage us to, let's wait to hear from our registrar on it. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. That is so very kind of him to respond directly to you and not to the commission body about this early voting location. It was always my goal to present an early voting location that will be centralized outside of the downtown area. That was one of the reasons why this Louisiana State Museum was selected in the beginning. I would like the minutes when we voted for the early voting site location to be established, where it was stated that our Secretary of State stated that these would be the optimal locations. So I would like to have that on record. And that is what pushed our votes the last time, because we were told that this would be optimal for the citizens of Caddo Parish. I don't know what is meant by using the word demographic, so I'll digress on that. But I think that it's imperative that we make sure that we are providing the necessary tools for our citizens to properly vote if they choose to early vote in Caddo Parish. We are at least 20 years behind. One of the largest municipalities that only has one early voting location. We've been talking about this since I've been here for the last 7 years. And we constantly kicking the can down the road saying, we're gonna wait on the MOU, we're gonna wait on this, and we've been told by authority that this will not happen in November. So as we're discussing this, I know that it will be back on the agenda week after next. I think that we all need to step back and say, let's do what's best for Caddo and put our egos aside, whatever those may be. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Hopkins.
I would just say that, you know, if it's truly about plug and play, the Secretary of State also said the Louisiana Oil and Gas Museum in Oil City was a good, able to use place. So I know the population may not be what it is in Shreveport. I understand that. But if you look at the percentage of voting in District 1, we're voters. So those people are having to come downtown or either one. So it'd be helpful. So if it's plug and play what we're talking about, I'll just throw Oil and Gas Museum in there because it's ready to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Commissioner Johnson, second time.
Yes, the Secretary of State said that he would come up, or he would have someone from his office come up if necessary. So I won't be sitting here talking till I'm blue in the face. So if we're gonna do all this, then I'll definitely invite the Secretary of State or someone from his staff to come up so that he'll tell his story that he told us.
Okay. I would welcome.
And like I say, you know, it pays to travel, to go to different places, that you meet these people that have been elected statewide, so that you can have these conversations. Have these conversations with them. So.
All right, Commissioner Jackson.
I'll just note that a lot of the conversation around redistricting and creating new minority seats centered around Southern Hills. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Will comment, several references were made to putting egos aside. I don't think my ego is not involved in this process. I'm just trying to maintain my perception of a fair and balanced voting location, and that's not a function of ego. It's just a function of trying to be fair, and we all want fairness, and I also want people to have access to a second location. But I want to ensure that second location is fair to all of our citizens as a whole. Okay, that's it there. Thank you very much. Let's see, move on to the next item. Madam Clerk, please.
President's report.
I think I've just made my president's report. Thank you.
Okay, we have no old business. We'll move to new business. Authorized introduction of ordinance number 6239 of 2022. An ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund to provide an appropriation for Charles Johnson Ministries Incorporated.
Move to advance.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, a second by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts to advance. Commissioner Johnson, would you care to comment?
This also went through the Appropriations Committee. So for the future agendas, put the Appropriations Committee and Johnson on there, if you, Madam Clerk. You know, CJ basically came up and talked about his nonprofit organization. He's been here before. He came back today, doing good things in the community. It's a lot of different things that they're doing. One thing is helping women, mentoring children, and like Commissioner Burrell said earlier when we was in a committee meeting, we don't have enough of these, that you got mentoring going on to some of our youth. And that's one of the reasons why we have crime in the juvenile area, is due to lack of mentoring. If you look at sports, you know, there's a shortage of coaches. One of the things that, you know, I had along with my parents and my family was basically having sports to go to and being in a disciplined sporting type event and learning how to deal with other people, and not to say that every time that you disagree or that you are at odds, you sit there and fight, or you shoot at each other. So I just think that we got to put things in place, especially when you know, you can't pass any kind of gun laws. So this is another thing that you can try to do to change on the back end. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to amend this to have the program or project or whatever we choose to do administered by Juvenile Services.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Jackson to have
Yeah.
this administered by Juvenile Services, and a second by Commissioner Hopkins.
Yeah, you know, I said my piece in the back about what I think we're doing. And as I've said, some folks tried to make it about this being a great program. Some folks tried to make it about that being a great person. Charles Johnson, no, he is my friend. I have absolutely nothing against him. I am mindful that we duplicate a lot of things around this body. I hope that as we get to final passage, I did ask for the stuff on the seedlings that we did for that 150, 175,000, because I truly believe that if this program is going to be done right, it needs to be done in conjunction and at the same level as that. And so I hope that as we get to final passage, that information would be shared and we would move forward in that manner. So, I mean, if we're going to fund this, I would like to see it, if we're working with youth, as with anything, I'd like to see some collaboration administering with Juvenile Services. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so anyone else on the board? All right, then I'll speak to it. I don't have a problem with the program. I think it has value. I think there are needs. My issue is with the process, and I just would like to see us move towards more of a structured process where it's done annually, like we were talking about in the NGO committee today. These one-off requests give me concern. So I'm going to be voting no, but not because I'm not supportive of Pastor CJ, but just because I think we need to move towards a more structured process. All right, so we've got a motion and a second. Anything else? Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, Chair. I'm just trying to get a clarification. If this does pass, then it will get passed and it works with conjunction with juvenile justice. Is that the motion on the floor?
As I understand it, go ahead, Commissioner
Yeah,
Johnson.
it would basically kind of be like what we do with the some of the other programming where Juvenile Services would basically give oversight administering the funds or whatnot. So
I got you. Okay.
They have kids who they see often that need to be redirected. They don't need to be incarcerated. They need to be redirected, and so that's what I'm proposing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good use of the.
All right, everybody, are we ready to vote? Looks like it. Okay, Madam Clerk.
That motion carries with 7 in support, 2 absent, and 2 in opposition and 3 absent.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
And now we'll vote on it as amended.
Just to be clear, I thought we did vote.
We just did that.
I thought we
it was
did
just
vote
the
on the.
amendment.
Yeah, I just did the amendment, so we need to vote as amended.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry if I wasn't. Yeah, I apologize if I wasn't clear.
Commissioner Jones? Okay, that motion carries with 7 in support, 2 in opposition. And now we move to resolution number 33 of 2022, a resolution to authorize the Caddo Parish
Move to
Administrator.
advance resolution 33.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to advance resolution number 33 by Commissioner Johnson, a second by Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Johnson, would you like to comment?
Is Jimmy still here? Jimmy, you want to come up and brief the other commissioners about this? This is in 2, 7, and 12.
These are just resolutions we have to bring to you periodically. There is language in the state agency leases that says we have to consent when one company assigns an interest to another company. This property was leased by us, by the state mineral board, back in September of 21 to Mammoth, and now Mammoth is conveying an undivided 30% to a different company.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions on that? Seeing none, let's vote.
Commissioner Hopkins?
I thought I did. There we go.
Okay, that motion carries with 9 in support and 3 absent. Now we move to resolution number 34, a resolution to urgent request.
I'd like to move to remove this from the agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Young to remove this from the agenda, second by Commissioner Dorman Gage Watts, is who I heard. Would you like to comment, Commissioner Young? Okay, let's vote. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Jackson.
I want to thank Commissioner John Paul Young. I think he's had some conversation. The district attorney did reach out to me. I don't know who reaches out to who on this body. I just know when stuff comes through my phone, I try to respond, but the district attorney did reach out to me to express some concern. So I don't know if he reached out to everybody else on this particular matter, but he did reach out to convey his concerns. And so I appreciate Commissioner Young for listening to him and having that conversation with him. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Thank you, Commissioner Young. Oh, you're voting? Okay. Are we ready to vote? We are voting to, on Commissioner Young's proposal, withdraw this from the agenda.
And that carries with 9 in support and 3 absent. Now we move to special resolution of recognition of appreciation for Roe Omega and Friends.
Point of information, when are we going to do the ordinance that we
At the
added
very
to the
end.
agenda?
At the very end, since
I
they're-
prefer to do those in ordinances
Okay.
and resolutions where they belong and not among the other ones.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and do,
63.
have that.
6237.
There we go. Authorized introduction for ordinance number 6237 of 2022, an ordinance regarding an exchange of roadways with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development in connection with extending Louisiana 3276 to Louisiana 1 to authorize the exchange of certain portions of parish roads in return for certain portions of state highways, to authorize the parish administrator to execute agreements as necessary to accomplish that exchange, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Move to approve
Second.
or introduce.
Okay, that motion by Commissioner Hopkins was seconded by Commissioner Jackson, I believe, to
Yes.
introduce.
To advance the
Did you need to, anyone on the board? Commissioner Jackson, is that old?
Yeah, that had to be old. Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hopkins, would you like to speak on your motion?
No, I think we talked about it, sent from committee.
Okay, we're ready to vote.
And that motion carries with 9 in support and 3 absent.
Okay. Thank you.
Now we move to authorize special resolution of recognition of appreciation for Roe Omega and Friends for celebrating the Juneteenth holiday for 35 years.
Move to advance.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, a second by Commissioner Talaferro to advance. Any comments?
Well, as Mr. Moss mentioned earlier, 35 years ago, there was a group of men, and I think there was one, maybe two ladies that was involved in setting up a Black Arts Festival that was in the 500 block of Milam. Over the years, that festival was a free festival. People came to the backside of the courthouse. They enjoyed it during Juneteenth. Over time, it moved from the 500 block of Milam to downtown, into a parking lot. From that parking lot, it moved to Festival Plaza. And now it's a 3-day festival that's recognized throughout the state and throughout the Arklatex. It's the largest African-American festival in the state of Louisiana, north of I-10. I had to put that clause in there because of New Orleans, but north of I-10 is the largest one and the largest one around this particular area. And so, you know, Juneteenth just now became a national holiday, but for 35 years, they have been celebrating Juneteenth, letting people know about what Juneteenth is. And so I think now that it is a 35th year, that it would be, to me, a good thing to recognize those men of Rogelmaker and friends, to say we appreciate the push, at least locally, to recognize Juneteenth. And we look forward to see many more years of it.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. I would like to make a substitute motion to englobe and advance this resolution and Special Resolution 5, 6, 7, and 8 to Thursday, President, if I can get a second.
Second.
Did you want to include the agenda edition?
Which was it?
The special
The one I
resolution
put
for
up.
CARE Inc. for
Absolutely.
Juneteenth?
Commissioner Johnson.
Second.
Okay. All right, so we have a resolution to englobo and advance 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, I guess it was, for Commissioner Jones's resolution. And the second was from Commissioner Jackson. Okay. Anything else on that, Commissioner Chavez?
No.
Any comments on this englobo in advance? Seeing none, let's have a vote.
I'm on board.
Commissioner Jackson, sorry.
Yeah, I'm on.
Sometimes I don't know if they're old or new.
No, it's all good. I want to one-up Commissioner Chavez and amend his motion to add the reappointment to the Waterworks District and Susanna Pojak to the Citizens Advisory Committee and to move forward the proposals for the official journal. And to authorize Ms. Mayquee Jackson to Thursday, and that's it for right now.
Second.
All right, so we want to amend the previous motion by Commissioner Chavez to include items 11.9, 11.10, 11.12.
I'm skipping the hospital board.
Yeah, I did. I thought did you want to skip the hospital or
Yes.
not?
Yes, because I need to change.
I
make
did
a
skip.
change in this.
I did skip 11.
Okay.
But I mentioned 12.
Okay.
And 14.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
And then Ms. Mayquee Jackson, I think that's what, 16?
Ms. Mayquee Jackson is 14.
14, okay, yeah.
11, 14.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or at least on my physical agenda here.
Yeah, and to remove the Juneteenth. Well, I guess we can add the Juneteenth because they actually did it, but if they want to come back, but add the Juneteenth Coalition as visitors.
Is that item 15?
Yes.
Okay. Did we get that, Madam Clerk?
Got
That
it.
is item 13.
13.
13, not 15.
It's 13.
Okay, 13. I will make a note that item 13 says June 9th, and I believe it should say June 19th, huh?
That's for June 9th, regular session.
It's visitors.
Oh,
Correct.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Correct.
I got myself confused. All right, everybody, are we
Just in
good?
case.
All right, I think we're ready,
No,
Madam.
I got it.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, I was trying to, what happened with the bill in the House and Senate about the official journal? I was basically saying that you can do a ad. Did it pass or not?
I think it's stuck in committee.
Still stuck in committee? Okay, all right. That's all I had.
Okay, I think we're ready to vote.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that motion carries with 7 support, 1 in opposition, and 4 absent.
Okay. Item, are we at 11 now? Is that where we are?
We're at authorized appointment to the North Caddo Hospital Service District Board of Directors.
Okay.
Appoint Jennifer Fant to the North Caddo Hospital Service Board of Directors to fill the term currently held by Mary Elizabeth Irvin, expiring, that's spelled it correctly, July 1, 2022. The term is to expire July 1, 2028.
Okay.
I want to move forward, but I need to amend and move forward appoint Jennifer Fant to the North Caddo Service District Board of Directors to fill the unexpired term held by Helen Godfrey, who resigned. The unexpired term will end on 7/18/2024.
Second.
Okay, so we are filling the unexpired term of Helen Godfrey, and that term will expire on 7/18/2024.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
And I think you had a second by Commissioner Jackson. Okay. Any other comments there, Commissioner Hopkins?
No.
All right, let's vote.
That motion carries with 7 in support and 5 absent. Now we move to
Item 16, is it not? 1116?
Should be 15.
What about 15? Authorize action item to
Yeah.
authorize administration to fund community Juneteenth celebration and let the Good Times Roll Festival with ARPA funds.
Okay.
Motion to amend this to remove Let the Good Times Roll Festival, and motion to advance, but remove Let the Good Times Roll Festival. And I'll explain it when it'll make sense if I get a second.
Okay. I'll second it.
Second.
Yeah, so the Let the Good Times Roll Festival already has 50,000, and I got this from finance, already has 50,000 set aside. And so these are ARP dollars that we set aside. We set $150,000 for American Rescue Plan funds aside for festivals and stuff like that. And so there's 50 already set aside for Let the Good Times Roll Festival. And I want to say what the coalition came and presented us today is about another $33,000 or $34,000 to that. And so that's basically what come out of those funds. So it's already appropriated, already set aside. So it's not drawing any additional dollars down on our budget. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay.
Oh, and I'll just say that I do want to applaud all of the groups. I know we've been here for a while. They left. One of the things we wanted to do was, instead of having sort of one-off events, one of the things we wanted to do was bring everybody together to try to have one big weekend of events. And so that's what we're trying to achieve. When you go to New Orleans to the Jazz Festival, it's not just, you go here and then somebody else's, their city, their parish, they fund things as a collaboration. And this is what this is doing, is putting everybody in one place to support a big Juneteenth festival. And we made it very clear at the very beginning that nothing takes away from the Let the Good Times Roll Festival. This is to add to what is already going on to that weekend. And so the stuff that you heard about the parade, the stuff that you heard about artists and things like that, all of that is to bolster. The city of Shreveport is putting funds in. They're also providing security. So this is a citywide, parish-wide event. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Johnson.
Yes. First, I didn't know what the dollar amount was, and that was one question I had. Second, have they completed an application?
I mean, they'll have to go through everything that is required for the ARP. So anybody who receives ARP dollars will have to go through that process, whatever the process is.
So they would have to submit an application. We will have to have an ARP meeting to approve it. So, all right. I was just trying to figure out how we was doing this, because I didn't see the application. Nobody told me one was in.
Well, the dollars have already been set aside.
I know, but every dollar that was set aside, when people applying for those, they have to still apply for those dollars. We just don't say, well, it's sitting there, so you get it. It's still an application process.
Right. This is similar to what we did with the African American Chamber, where we just authorized funds that were set aside for, what was it, the cash mobs or whatever we want to call it. No, we renamed it. Whatever we renamed it. So this is the similar process that we went through.
Didn't that go through committee?
No, it didn't.
Yeah, we were on the Economic Development Zoom call. with
The
that.
Economic Development Committee, but the ARP piece did not.
Oh. All right, so where are we?
I just want to understand
Yeah.
what kind of process we gonna have, because if a commissioner just comes down and say, well, this is a pot of money sitting there and I'm just gonna put this organization in it, and it hasn't been through an application process, then what we gonna do?
I mean, it still has to go through whatever vetting process.
I know, but what I'm saying is time is of essence, because it's
why it's on the agenda.
17th, today the 6th, so.
That's why it's on the
what-
agenda.
I didn't want to know when I need to try to schedule a meeting and all that.
Dr. Wilson, what would be the process for this, or maybe it's Erica?
Yeah.
Do we have a precedent on this type of thing?
Commissioners, you've appropriated the dollars. It would be y'all's purview if you decide you want this to go back to the committee, but you've appropriated the dollars, and so now you're authorizing a certain organization to get a certain amount from those dollars.
We can't hear you with that mask.
Sorry. You've already appropriated the dollars, $150,000, of which $50,000 has been set aside for Let the Good Times Roll. This would tell us that $30,000 or $33,000 can be used for the Juneteenth Coalition. It's y'all's decision if you want to have a committee meeting, but once you authorize it, it can be used for that, and then we would go through the process of vetting to ensure that it meets the eligibility. We can get an app if that's, and make sure it meets the eligibility and go forward in that manner.
Okay, so we don't need to know what the 32,000 is gonna be used for?
That's the vetting.
That's what this
I mean, cause there's nothing attached to our agenda to say what
You're
it
right.
is, so.
Well, I think they can get that to us. They
Yeah,
got to
so I'm just saying, we need to know what the 32,000 is for. That's,
So this is this the final vote here, or are we proposing?
The final vote is Thursday.
It's just advancing to Thursday.
Okay. So.
So final
maybe they
vote
can-
Thursday,
Maybe
so-
they can get it to us by Thursday. I don't know how.
Yeah, I'm sure they can.
Send an email.
We'll get that.
okay.
We'll get it to you.
Okay.
However y'all wanna do it, it's fine with me. I just wanted to make sure that it's consistent.
Yeah.
I'm all
That's
for
what
that.
I'm about, consistency.
Me too.
All right, we all agree. All right, so the staff will reach out and ask them to send their budget for the proposed 32,000 by Thursday's meeting, so we can look at it before voting on Thursday. All right, I think we have an agreement on that. Madam Clerk, I think we're ready to vote.
Alrighty, that carries with 8 in support and 4 absent. Now we move to direct administration to make proposed changes to the NGO application
Vote to
process.
table to the next work session?
To next work session?
Yes.
To delay.
To delay, yeah, to delay.
Table's
Motion-
different.
Commissioner Johnson has a motion to delay to next work session.
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Talaferro. Sorry, Commissioner Johnson.
No big deal to me. And the reason that I want to table, because of so many different questions we had in the NGO Appropriations Committee. And then there's the Economic Development needs to look at it. Some of the same ones on ARP, so you pretty much catch all of that. And then if there's any other commissioner that has questions, it gives them now that time to look at it before we vote on it.
Okay.
And we're trying to do it because they want to get all that out by July. So if we can do it then, that'll work just fine.
Okay, thank you. All right, Commissioner Jackson, are you on the
Yes.
board?
I'm okay with, I was gonna make that motion to postpone, and I wanna clarify that we're postponing until the next, work session. Dr. Wilson, I would ask if we would have, the person who, sought these recommendations to walk us through, because I don't necessarily think that each and every committee, I think it should be the purview of those committee chairs if they wanna walk through that, but that's what this work session is for. And if we have staff come down and present their logic and reasoning behind putting this forward, we knew this was coming. We voted on this, and in that committee, I forewarned us that we had to be prepared for moving this forward or not moving it forward. And so I think we've got roughly 2 weeks to take a look at this, for everybody to take a look I don't necessarily know that every single committee, because Animal Service Committee, they can do NGO funding. The NGO funding process is not limited to any specific committee. And I want to be clear about that. Any committee can make a recommendation to spend funds. If I'm wrong, can I be corrected? Yes. But any committee can make a recommendation for funding. So we've got time to take a look at this. I agree. I don't want anybody to feel rushed, and I don't want anybody to leave with a misunderstanding. I do want to applaud administration for taking the time to reach out to those organizations, the Community Foundation, the Beard Foundation, to get professional input on this. But we recognize that we need to do something different if we're going to continue to do this process at all. Because the reality is, after 2023, some of us are still going to have to be down here to deal with this. And so we've got to put a process in place that's fair, but one that recognizes that we don't still have the pot of resources that we've always had. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Johnson, you back on the board?
Yeah, just one thing I want to add. You know, the information that put most of that together came from private industry, private organizations. I mean, if we're going to be comparing apples to apples, I think we should be looking at other public entities and what they're doing for their grant process instead of private, public. It's two different dollars, and it's two different ways of spending money and wanting to get things across. So I applaud the effort, but at the same time, I also think there should be some public entity input as well from maybe another city or what the state does, whatever we want to do. But just to make it apples to apples and not apples to oranges. That's all I have.
Okay.
And that gives us that 2 weeks to find that out.
Thank you. All right, seeing no one else on the board, let's vote.
What's the motion to postpone?
Which one?
Postpone to the next work session.
A motion to postpone to next work session.
That motion carries with 8 in support and 4 absent. Now we move to communiques and committee reports.
Anyone else on the board? Let's see, it looked like Commissioner Young poked his thing, but don't see him. Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had two questions. Well, one question and one comment. So first, Dr. Wilson, Commissioner Jackson's comment about animal services just reminded me to ask, did we, I don't remember the status of the funding increase that we described for Robinson's Rescue as the spay-neuter ordinance comes into effect at the beginning of July. Did that go through? Do they have the extra funding that we talked about them getting?
I will check for you, sir.
Okay.
I believe so.
I remember we talked about maybe like a 20% increase because we were hoping for 20% more spays and neuters. And then the second one was just a comment. Earlier today, I noticed that we had a little bit of challenge maybe meeting a notice requirement because our official journal is weekly. I know that everybody always votes the same way on the official journals, but I'd just like to note that probably nobody in District 4 receives either of those journals, and recently people have been telling me that they wish they were more aware of Caddo Parish businesses and the things that we were doing, and I just feel that my constituents probably won't get access to that information because of the journals we always pick. Thank you.
Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. Attorney Frazier, I heard on the news that a time capsule was found in the monument.
Yes, sir.
So is that possession of Caddo Parish, or who owns that time capsule?
The Daughters of the Confederacy, and there's one, I believe it belongs to the Sons of Confederate Veterans.
That's pretty cool.
There were two, actually.
I would love if the parish commission could be invited when they do open that. I think that would be a cool thing to partake in. That's it. That's the answer I was looking for.
Is that it, Commissioner Chavez?
That's it.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, I just want to put on the record, Madam Clerk, one, you did a great job today, by the way. But I did bring forth a bylaw change that would have required everything to go through a committee, and that was emphatically rejected by this body. So I just want to put that out there, that there was an opportunity to require everything to go through a committee, and it didn't get support either. So just want to be on the record of stating that. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Anybody else? All right, Madam Clerk.
Now we move to citizens' comments, late arrivals. I haven't received anything. And then we have consent agenda.
Mr. President, I have a point of information. I think it may be prudent for this body to remove under consent agenda ordinance number 6237, since we introduced it today, and that way it'll be off the agenda for Thursday.
Second.
Sorry, I had to
It'll
sneeze.
be-
We have a motion by Commissioner Hopkins and a second by Commissioner Chavez to, can you restate that?
Remove ordinance number 6237 from consent agenda.
Okay.
Well, it'll be introduced on Thursday. It'll be introduced on Thursday, so it
Read
could
it.
stay on consent agenda. I mean, it's not,
If you won't have to read it, if you take it off now.
well, I don't read it now anyways. I'll read
Okay,
it
however you want to do
Thursday.
it, that's fine.
I'll read it Thursday.
Do you withdraw your motion?
I withdraw my motion.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Teacher and the,
All right.
the teacher and the student.
I taught you well, didn't I?
Sorry, what was the question? Point of clarification.